This video will show how you can preview fonts in order to find one that really matches what you're looking for. So I've just typed in the word right here, and if you go to the drop down for the fonts, there is a preview down here of what the font will look like. Also, as you highlight over your different font options, it will actually change in the background to match that font. So it'll give you a live preview inside your document. What that's going to look like. Because of the way that the drop down is, where it's over the top of your font, a lot of times I will switch over to the shape tool, which then moves your drop down way over here to the left. That way, as you mess with it, I'm going to shrink this a little bit here too. So you've got the ability to shrink your box and make it smaller and that sort of stuff, so we can get that out of the way if we wanted to. But because of this, we can, oops, I have to select my letters first. Here we go. Now we'll go to the drop down here and switch it. So as I move this, you'll see that it actually changes in the background. It also gives me a preview here of the font. And we can make that preview larger or smaller depending on how this is dragged, so you can see that there. Or we can turn off that preview if we want to, so we can just hide the preview since it's giving us a preview here. So as we move through these different fonts, we'll see how that works. But if you wanted to compare a couple different fonts together, there's an option over here in the Font Playground Docker that will let you actually type in the same information but in different fonts. So I've got it in MD Roman, Vermarmonu, Tahoma, Big Double Outline. So I've got it in a bunch, and if I wanted to add another sample I could, and then just change that to any of these other fonts that I wanted. Let's just go in here and grab this one. So you can see how they compare to each other, and if you wanted to change that text, you just double click, I believe it is, and then you can delete that text and type anything you want. So you can do a letter, you could do a word, it doesn't matter. You can type in whatever you wanted to preview there. And you can also change how big or small that preview is. So the Font Playground is a way to compare multiple fonts at the same time. The preview gives you a good example of what it's going to look like, and it will give you a live preview. So if I had a full stone, it would actually change all of that text at once if I wanted to. And the last way is through the Font Manager. So Font Manager is what you can use to install fonts and see what fonts you have installed. But one of the options is that when you click on a font, as long as you've got the this button checked here where it gives you the properties, then it will also give you a glyph preview if it's installed. If it's not installed, then I don't believe that it does. But as long as it's installed, it'll give you a preview over here, and you can make that larger or smaller as well. That shows you all the glyphs that are in your font. But if you wanted to see a specific letter, you could just click on the font that you want to see, come over here and type in a letter like R, and it would go straight to the R. And that way it would show you what that one is. I was looking at a font earlier that is an open type font, and it's called American Captain, and it actually has a bunch of different options because they give you alternate glyphs. So we've got R's that have tails and R's that don't, and if I make this a little bit smaller, you'll see all of these different characters, different language characters and all of that sort of stuff. So you can really get into the font here and see what's available and go that way to see if you can find a matching character for what you're needing. But just wanted to show that to you, that there's a couple different ways where you could check and get a good match to the font you're looking for.